Hey there, saltwater angler, and welcome to the Lower Chesapeake Bay Fishing Report, bringing you the current fishing report, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. Now let's take a moment and learn who's making this show possible, and then we'll jump into the reports. Tired of battling salt corrosion on your boat, trailer, and reels? Meet Salt's Gone, your ultimate solution. This powerful, instantly acting chelating agent tackles salt and brine with ease, featuring corrosion inhibitors to protect against future damage and surfactants for a thorough clean. Salt's Gone is pH neutral, making it safe for all boat materials: metal, glass, paint, vinyl wraps, and more. Highly concentrated, just 1 gallon creates 100 gallons of ready-to-use solution. Apply it with or without running water. It's perfect for any situation. Use code GreatDays10 to save 10% at saltsgone.com. Or if you need faster delivery, use Amazon or your favorite retailer. Listen up. AFTCO has a promotional gift for all Great Days Outdoors Podcast Network listeners. They're now offering a camo sunglasses cleaner cloth with any purchase of AFTCO products. For those cold, wet, or windy days, I especially enjoy my weatherproof fabric barricade jacket, as well as my Helm insulated fishing gloves. All you got to do to get your coupon code is text LCBFR to 779-345-2918. You'll get subscribed to our email list, and we'll send you the promo code via email. Burr, it's been real cold outside, but you know what's hot right now are them Eagles. Welcome back to the show, Captain Bill Pappas playing hooky. How are we doing, Cap? How are your Eagles doing?
Go Birds. Let's go Eagles. I'm pumped, buddy. I'm pumped. On the way to the big dance again.
Oh, man. The big dance. That's a great way of putting it, dude. That's awesome. Congrats. I know you've been an Eagles fan for what, your whole life, since before you were born?
Man, you'll find, man. You guys will laugh at this, but I was in Hawaii, man. And when you're in Hawaii, you can pick whatever team you want. You know what I mean? And my dad liked the 49ers because of Montana and them winning, and the Giants he liked sometimes. So I used to like the team that he didn't like. If he was picking that team, I'd pick the other team just to root against him. I don't know why I did that, but that's what I did. Yeah.
That's funny.
So,
it's funny you mentioned Joe Montana. I saw a video yesterday that talked about how early on in his career, before cell phones, Joe Montana would be at, whatever field he was at, he would test the the phone that they had in like the sidelines there, and he would hit 9 to see if he could get an outside line. And so his wife tells a story of how, like, all the time her home phone would ring and it was Joe in the middle of a game going, "Hi, honey, I was just checking to see if the outside line works. Love you. Gotta go. Bye."
Damn right.
Yeah.
Joe's a hero, man. Everyone likes him, Joe, man. He's a monster, man. I like the Eagles, though, because I liked Randall Cunningham. Way back in the day, I liked Randall Cunningham. He ran around. The city didn't like him. And I felt like the same way in Hawaii because I was a Howley boy. I was a white boy. So I was like, man, everybody around here don't like me because I'm white. And they didn't like him because he's black. So I was like, you know what? I like him. He's all right, man.
Yep.
Anyway,
that is a fact. Well, speaking of, being cold playing football, it's hard to determine what's harder, playing football in the snow or going fishing in the snow.
Man, I'll tell you what, fishing in the snow is, I got to say, a little bit harder. The football is more fun because, you're still having fun. But, hey, I'll tell you what, though. It's been cold lately. We still send it out there in some tougher days. That's the way. Gotta go with the snow on the boat. Sometimes you go and you get some spray and ice spray.
Well, and for those that are tuning in, I mean, obviously you're kind of like become the fan favorite of the show. But for those that are tuning in for the first time and hearing your voice, tell us a little bit about the boat that Playing Hooky runs that you take out in these snowstorms.
Man, I'll tell you what, we ran a 19-foot Key West, then we ran a 25-foot Pilot House Seahawk, and we worked hard enough to save up for deposits and all that to get qualified for we have a 30-foot. It's a 29-foot Seahawk, custom built, right in my back of my brain. I decided to pull the top back, add a really big tower like a sport fishing boat, add 300 Yamahas for pure power, 600 horses, and you make curtains and seats to make it feel like a space shuttle at Disneyland. So it's a long boat. You know what I mean? Everybody sits one way when they ride for back support, and older people's comfort, some bean bags, and then you turn that thing around and you open all the curtains up and you're fishing out the back like you're on a backwards space shuttle now, just watching the lines and having a great time.
That's awesome.
It's a Seahawk with 300 Yamahas.
Yeah, it's a beautiful boat, man. Truly one of a kind. She rides great. She's warm. She's got the pilot house, like you said. And then it's almost like a pocket sport fish where you're able to be up there and turn around and communicate and talk to everybody and see everything. It's a really cool rig, and it definitely fishes great and it's very comfortable. But you guys have been sending it some of these cold weather conditions, and you and I were talking offline, and I went and looked up one of your recent videos that I thought was hilarious because you're always a big music guy, and you'll post
Yeah.
a video with like the perfect song to match it. And the other day, you guys came in bumping the Vanilla Ice song, Ice Ice Baby. And I went and looked at this video of this completely frozen avid reel, completely iced over. And I'm like, I got to go watch this again because it was so funny. I click on it, it's got 900,000, almost 900,000 watches on this video. Like, you've gone completely viral with that video. What was the inspiration and what in the world were you doing with frozen reels?
Man, I tell you what, we rode out there and we've been riding out there with, a lot, even in the cold, and we have the rods up top. They're way up there. You got to stand on something to reach up. You can't just reach up and grab the rods out of the rod holders. You got to get up on something. They're so high up there. Well, speaking of that, we ran out there and we had I guess a northeast coming at us. So every time it busted, it was banging us and throwing the spray up. And as you ride and as you ride and as you ride, we got out there and everything was frozen up top. We pulled all the rods down and man, they were like, dude, the road, everything's frozen. I'm driving. They're like, everything's frozen up, and they all got jackets and all this stuff on and they're ready to rock. What are you gonna do? And I run out there and I just start. I don't know what came over me, man, but it was a beautiful sunrise.
Yeah.
I was happy to be out there because it had been a blow for a week. And it was the first day we could possibly get out there, and the bluefin were biting, and it was you got bluefin fever, you go fishing.
Yep.
So I went out there and I instantly just like a kid with no socks on his hand as a kid trying to make snowballs, buddy. I went out there and enjoyed it. I was like bang, 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 and I videoed it and I was like, you know what, this is a cool moment, man. I looked on the floor and it was all slushy. I videoed that and I had some more videos of us cleaning some stuff off the rails, and you get inside and you fish and you ride back around. You get home and you're like, oh my, I fish a lot. I just never seen it do that.
Yeah,
To the
that's
rods
crazy.
up top and freeze on the line, on the fishing line. We had like a half an inch, around these fishing lines, and we had to go up and get warm water to defrost our reels to rinse them off. We had to literally defrost layers and layers of ice off them to get them cleaned off there. So I
That is
thought it was
crazy.
special. I thought it's something I hadn't seen. So I kind of wanted to post it and made a video as tired as I was and threw it up there, and yeah, it's got 900,000 views, man. When suckers going
Dude,
viral, it's pretty
that's
crazy.
incredible. And obviously it was tough conditions. You didn't get bites. So like talk to us a little bit about this bluefin thing. I mean, is it still happening? Like here it is, the end of January. Obviously that warmer water line has kind of moved further and further out to the east. Like, are we having to go that much further, or are they still hanging in shore? Like what's the current status of bluefin tuna out of Virginia Beach?
All right, we're at Thursday, and it was Saturday. Last I was out there and heard of the last bite. The last bite was Ryan Rogers on the Midnight Sun, and he had a good pull while he was doing some striper research under some diving gannets.
Mm-hmm.
That was inside of the mills, and we went over there and got in that bait and did not get a bite. They were catching striper as well, and they had that huge run, which sounded like one. Now, I've been getting a lot of friends coming out from togging the square. No, I'm just kidding. It's called the triangle. Anyway,
It looks like a square on your
I don't even want
water.
to say it. They're gonna kill me. Anyway, so they're at somewhere in the triangle area or that depth or that distance. Maybe they're even at the windlass, but they saw more bluefin jumping. I've been getting the same
Yeah.
reports from different people that there's still bluefin jumping here and there, and it puts the wild hair on me today. And is I wanted to fly out there one more time today, but we have sea bass season coming up, and
Mhm.
that's a lot of work out there for us coming, and we're ready for it. It's gonna be fun if we can get some weather to do it. And I tore my shoulder
Oh,
holding on to a gaff from a bluefin about a month ago. So it's kind of one of those. I can go back out there and not recover and follow my passion, or I could also try to use my brain sometimes and sit at the house and let myself recover and get ready for sea bass season. But yeah, I don't
yeah.
think it's over. I'll tell you what though, look, if you run all the way down south, still on. If you run straight out where the warm waters could be on, you run out to meet middle areas, the fingers in the
Mm-hmm.
hot dog. I have heard that the last couple trips people have made, they haven't got them. So it's just one of those trial and errors, goes and don't goes. And I know one thing, you're never going to catch them if you don't try. It's all
Sure.
about the amount of boats that keep trying and don't. If you have, thankfully, we've had the windmills, which people think that maybe they're drawing them there, and they could be drawing some fish there. But I totally think that the windmills is actually a reference point. People will go to the tower because it sounds like go to the tower and catch them. Go to the mile for south.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
a reference point. People will go that far with their boats. You have hundreds of boats. If it says tower, you've seen the summer spadefish. Ooh. Anyway, so you go out. Now you got the windmills, and people. There's two structures that say windmills, and you say, "Hey, this many miles to the windmills," and people were like, "All right, I'll go to the windmills." And next thing you know, you get more people catching, more areas open up, more people explore different areas and catch them. And so it takes really fishermen to catch fish, if you
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah. And create that network of communication.
It
You make
does,
a good
man.
Yeah, you make a good point about like having that tower there. Like how many people would be out chasing these bluefin right now if those windmills weren't there? It's like,
No,
yeah,
exactly.
just go out about 30 miles. It's like, well,
Yeah,
you'd feel
27
like
miles.
you're yeah, you'd almost feel like you're not close to where there should be some, but like when you see a windmill, you're like, well, there's structure here, so there's just this like idea in your head that like there should be something happening nearby. But it's interesting a second ago. So I've got Hilton's real-time navigator pulled up, and I'm looking at the water shot from today. The most recent one is a beautiful clear day, so we've got this really nice, perfect, image. And I dropped my temperature range to 55 degrees to 37, so I can really see the gradient. And you mentioned the fingers. And it's interesting looking at the water shot right now because right at the fingers is where that water really has the hardest kind of temp break going from like 42, 43 degrees to like 47, 48 degrees. And then there's like a little kind of notch or like half moon, if you will, from the fingers straight south where you can kind of see that line continues and then it shoots out, kind of towards like duck where like that warm water cuts back in. So if I was a betting man and had to go pull some lines today, I'd probably be southwest of the fingers, kind of pulling in that area looking for 47, 48-degree water. But that's just me.
Yeah, how long ago is the shot though? That's what you gotta look at first. You
It
gotta
was from
do a
2 hours ago,
okay
7:50 this
today.
morning.
That's the yeah. Well, that would be a good bet then.
Yeah, but it's just kind of cool to look at that, and then we talked about it on previous episodes. But like days where you've had several bites in an area, you can go back in the archives and look at the water shots and the chlorophyll and the salinity from that day, and look at your numbers and kind of figure out like, okay, maybe there are some data points here that make sense as to why I was so successful in that area, and then just kind of log that for future trips.
Some people do that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. You
a little more religious than that.
you fish from the gut. I love it. But so
Yeah.
talk to us about that trip, going out there, freezing cold, no bites. Like how do you deal with that as a captain? Were you on a charter that day or was that just an
No,
exploratory
you
trip?
know, it was a trip. We were going to go look for a nice fish, and we only had a few people on the boat, so we were going to do a little half and half, maybe. Get out there and see if we can get one. I know one thing: the conditions from what we saw on the radar, what we saw on the weather forecast, what we saw on the other stuff, did not match up that day. Nothing.
Uh-oh.
So we had a pretty much we fished an unfishable day, pretty much.
Hmm.
There wasn't a whole lot to it. It wasn't really like like you've seen in the past. I mean, right when we stopped, don't get me wrong. The reason we pulled over and the reason everything went crazy is we saw 150, 200 gannets beating the water right in front of us at about 3 miles or 2 miles from where we decided we were going to stop to begin with.
Hmm.
So we pulled the brakes. We ran outside. We got the lines over. Everybody was hands were turning red like cherries from trying to beat the ice off them things, and we had to put over. So it felt juicy to start. Went to the normal areas where we thought we'd been catching some fish, and went to some other areas where there's been fish being caught recently. And then we
Hmm.
tried even to move to our of our own and went to the south a little more, but ended up. And it was at the day. No, that just wasn't a fishable day, bud. It just
Yeah.
really. It
Yeah.
was. There's when you got the water doing that dirty, and you pretty much can smack them in the head with it and they'll eat it pretty much. Usually you'd have to be right on them to get them on that day. A clearer day when the water's settled, it's like flounder fishing pretty much. When you got
Right.
some days it hasn't rained for and the bay hasn't washed out a lot of its silt and you got some clear water, you're gonna get way more bites. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that makes a lot of sense. I saw that video the other day of the kayakers taking videos of those bluefin, eating right in front of them, and you
Fair
get a
enough.
sense watching that just how visual of hunters they are. So you talking about the silt and the difference in like the clarity in the water, that really kind of hits, to think about how big of an impact that has on your ability to be successful. Like if the visibility in the water is only 15 feet, like you said, you got to smack them right on the head to get that bite.
You definitely do, man. And that's the other thing about the bluefin. It's already February, and we're going to transition over to sea bass because that's just it's a one to go catch a fish when there are a lot of here is different than when there's a few here. Taking people to fish for them. I mean, you got to have fishermen who just like to fish.
Yeah.
To say, what I told somebody, this is the truth. Even though when you're even that day out there, sometimes it's not. I mean, we're going quote unquote fishing, Luke. But at the end of the day, maybe it's not fish we were after.
Mm, true. Could have just been
We just
uh,
wanted to get off land, get away from problems, get away from the world, get away from
yep.
everything. Say hi to God, say hi to the water, say hi to the nature. I mean, we saw a right whale. I mean, hey, I'm not saying that's what we went out there for, but at the end of the day, you pull out what you can,
Yep.
make lemonade out of lemon.
No, I like that, man. Get out there and get close to God and his
Yeah,
creation and just enjoy a sense of adventure. We can get so caught up in our 9 to 5 and our day to day and traffic and bills and this, that, and the other. And it's just good to get out there and be alive for a little while.
Here's a good example. You could go to the Rudy Rail and catch 15 croakers every day for 2 hours. And you know what? Do it every single day of the week and enjoy it. And you know what? Maybe you're not even out there for the fish. You're just out.
Mm,
That's what makes you happy and keeps you connected to the earth.
right, right.
And that's a lot of us, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back to something you said about, ripping your shoulder out. That the bluefin tuna fishing is probably the most full contact fishing that you can do. I don't think that there's any other type of fishing I can think of that is more physically intense, especially at end game when they're right next to the boat. I mean, tell me, like, how bad is that shoulder right now?
Well, it's been a month, and honestly, I should. I usually recover a lot quicker, but I know the times that I've already retorn it a few times. I was on the boat and we needed to turn real sharp. We had a fish on, and I didn't even think twice. I just grabbed that wheel and did what I had to do. And I'm
Yeah.
out there throwing the harpoon still full blast without, when being hurt and being able to use it are two different things.
Mm,
Being hurt and not having to use it, oh, I feel pain. When I'm in the
yeah.
moment, when everything's going down, there's no, I mean, pain's not even it's a friend. It's a
Yeah.
pal. It's a friend out there. The cold air biting at your face all day long. It's my friend. You know what I mean? All these things you either hate it or you love it, man. And you
Mm,
got two choices out there. If you hate something all day long, you're not going to like to do it very long. So
yeah.
I just flip it around in my mind where it's like, you know what? Even though it hurts, it's what I love to do, and I'm lucky to be able to do it. So I'll take the pain. But yeah, you don't feel it. I don't feel it, man.
Absolutely. Well, just as we kind of wrap up this kind of segment, so to speak, about bluefin tuna, give us a quick recap of roughly how many bluefin tuna trips did we take this season and how many bluefin tuna did we catch?
Oh man, how many did we release? How many did we catch? How many did we get to the boat? How many got to the boat? How many got pulled? How many bites? I mean, there's just so many different questions that could be answered at once. There was probably about almost 10, maybe 8 to 10 brought back.
Okay.
There was probably we had good numbers on our charters though. Out of the charters, 8 to 10 of those, we did well on those. We had about probably 12, 15 charters, and 10 out of 15 wasn't bad. And then we
Okay.
did about I did probably another 5 or 6 just straight commercial trips, just straight ice babies, just straight just grinders where it's not fishable for a charter, but it's just fishable for a crew that of
Mm,
people that love that have the suits and want to fish. You know what I mean? So we went
yeah.
out, tried a few times. Those times we weren't successful. Some of the times we weren't successful, some we were. So it's just
Yeah.
what they're all reported, thankfully, and that's just the way that goes.
Yeah. Well, man, I tell you what, you guys did some battle this year and some tough conditions and definitely made it happen and had several good runs like that one. I think you had what, 3 days, was it 3 or 4 days in a row that you guys brought fish home?
It was 3 straight days, three in a row, three giants. And then we did another was a commercial trip. We shouldn't have been out there, and and then we went on so it was pretty much 4 trips in a row. But who's counting? It was Christmas Eve. It was cool, and we had what giant we lost on New Year's Eve, and we lost another
Oh,
giant on about a week ago. We lost another giant, and these are all videos at the boat and everything with the harpoon in the fish. It's we had a trip, a small example. It's a little tougher with a charter. You got to imagine because we really like these guys. This guy James is awesome. One of our guys, man. He's bad. He's awesome, and he must be lucky because as soon as he got on the boat on a half day, pretty much he was already hooked up. He got him right to the boat and it pulled the hook, so he switched off, and they got another one hooked up instantly again. And it was one of those days where I tell you, use your gut. You see them busting. You see them busting. Normally, your gut would tell you, "Hey," or your brain would say, "Hey, turn around. Let's go through this about 5 more times." They just broke right there, but fish kind of swim, and they may not be in the same spot. But whatever, you go back through it. It's just what you do.
yeah.
This day, I've seen it, been there, done it, and I was like, you know what? No, man, they busted. I went right through them. Didn't even look back. I kept going to where I wanted to go. Got hooked up. Got a fish. Lost the fish. I said, normally you'd be like, yeah, let's go back where I saw the fish. Let's go back where I caught a fish. And I was like, you know what? Nope. Kept going. And that's when we hooked up another one. And that was the bigger. We had 100 plus incher at the boat. And James had just come up top. And it was only him and his buddy. He got the whole boat for themselves. And he came up to the top. And as soon as he got there, he's like, man, this is beautiful up here. We were on that quick. And he got up and had to get down that fast. I'm being dead. He literally crawled up, stood up. The moment he stood up, he's got back down and had to go fight.
Oh, dude, that's
It was
awesome.
it was killer, man. And that one came a little close to the boat, and man, he just happened to pull that harpoon with him, man, and bent the
Oh,
shaft and popped the main line. The ball went over the cleat, and the harpoon is the whole. It's just
oh. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's full contact, and there's
yeah, it's
everything's
not a
so
guarantee. It's
yeah,
not.
everything's so violent too because the amount of force that tuna has against your gear is hard to put into words. But like,
You get
uh,
hurt people bringing it in the boat. Just bringing it in the boat alone, you
yeah,
get get hurt people. We had a guest go, fly across the boat when that thing came in. And one time we pulled the fish in, and all of us pulled at the same time. Well, when that head and the fish, and we all walked back at the same time, the boat did the rockaroony. And there's sea legs, and there's and one guest went flying down and hopped up and was okay, but
Yeah.
it's
It's dangerous.
full
Yeah.
contact. It's full contact,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, it's the MMA of fishing, that's for sure. You said something earlier that made me think of, my buddy Austin McDonald, the day that we hooked up on the 28th. It had been a little bit of slow in the morning. We were seeing all this bait, and like we made a couple of changes to how far we had the lines out this side of the other, and I'll never forget. He comes up beside me. I'm on the wheel. He comes up beside me. He bumps me in the shoulder, and he goes, "Hey man, just trust the process." And I kid you not, like one Mississippi, two Mississippi. We're on. I was like, man, this is awesome. But that reminds me too, speaking of harpoons, we still got to do our little field trip up to visit one of our sponsors, Sam Rust, and meet Ray Conley, who has your harpoon that got cut out of one of the fish that you sold. So I'm
That
excited
dart.
to. Yeah,
That
that
dart.
dart. So that's a really cool keepsake for him, and a reminder for you to sharpen your harpoon.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We put the new. I told you already about the new ones we put on there.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
absolutely.
God.
Razor sharp.
Oh, they weren't. That was the thing. I didn't tell you the story. Oh God.
Oh, I saw you.
Bro,
I saw you in one of your stories that you were using a grinder and sharpening your
yeah,
your harpoons.
you got to imagine there's a reason for that. So here's the reason. It's going to be funny. All right, we're back on the second fish of that three fish row in a row run, and I am throwing lawn darts, dude. I'm hitting the bullseye like deep in the water. I'm banging these fish, and they're popping out, and I'm like, what the heck? So finally, I beam the next one, and it stays in real good. We get this one dead. Yay, we come back. Cool, man. And the third day, I got Ed there this time, and I'm throwing, and I'm beaming these things and beaming these things. And I finally comes, I'm like, did anybody sharpen the brand new darts? Are you kidding me? I pull the thing over and I look at it. It's like a tennis ball. It's round. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I've been throwing a round dart at this. So, instantly the Greek in me and the Italian comes out like I'm in the Coliseum, and I'm like, this is for Sparta. And I throw that thing as hard as I can the next throw, and I go right in that fish deep, and we get that one smoked and bring him up and kill him. So that's when you saw the video of Mr. Sharpener. I took him home I sharpened him up
Hmm.
super. So now fast forward to the next fish. So the next fish comes around. There's a lot of people down on the boat. It's a charter, and we've got a 68 incher or something. 150 to 180 pound fish flipping out behind the boat on the DTX minnow. It comes up, and I jumped down to throw the harpoon. They're like, get down here. I come down and for some reason the harpoon wasn't ready to go. Nothing was taped. Nothing was ready to rock. But the show must go on.
Yeah.
So I snatch the dart. I throw it on the end of that thing, the brand new sharpened one, and I just hold the rope. No line or nothing. This is one of those old school harpoons where you have to have tape because this is a round hole and the thing slides over. It doesn't have
Yeah.
like rubber rings or anything to hold it on tight, secure it. Anyway, so I grab that thing, man, and I'm like, and I beam this thing, and I beam it, man. It's like boom, and right when I beam it, it takes off, and right when it takes off, kapow! The main line blows up. And so the line goes flying in the water. My instincts are like instantly I become a fishing reel, like a senator, man. I'm out there putting drag on the thing. I'm putting drag on it. And normally you're supposed to throw the buoy or whatever, but I don't know. I just felt like I had this one. So I slowed it down. I was like, Russ, help me. I slowed it down and turned it, and we started pinwheeling that thing around with just the rope. Just the
Oh,
rope, and we're pinwheeling it, and we pinwheel that sucker all the way back to the boat, and we get it there, gaff it, gaff it, gaff it. We gaff it up a couple gaffs, get in the boat, boom, it's in the boat, it's huge, right? And we look,
oh,
so as I'm videoing, looking at it, like, oh my god, we look where the harpoon went. It went through the top half of the fish on its left side, on its port side, and went all the way through the fish middle, all the way through the fish to the outside, blow out the skin, and the dart turned sideways and was latched on the other side. So we
oh, like a
literally,
toggle bolt, like a toggle
oh
bolt.
my God, we had that thing on a leash, buddy. It was not coming. Yo, I mean,
I mean, that's textbook how a harpoon is supposed to work, to go all the way through, flip like a
man,
toggle bolt behind drywall, and come back cinched tight against the fish and never come back through
it's usually supposed to go in the meat and do that, or somewhere in the fish. But this time, I mean, I've never seen one go
all the way
all the way
through.
through the fish to the other side and then turned like you said, like
Dude,
a toggle, turned like a T and pulled.
that's
It was crazy.
incredible. That's incredible. Well, on that note, I want to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and then come back and talk a little bit about the upcoming sea bass season.
All right.
Would your insurance cover an air ambulance and a medical emergency? The fact is, insurance doesn't cover the full cost of medical flights, leaving you and your loved ones at financial risk. But with an Air Medcare network membership, you can focus on recovery, not on finances, should the unexpected happen. They take care of everything with no costs for flights, only when flown by one of their providers. Membership covers your full household and starts at $99 a year. Visit gdo.deals/airmedcare to enroll. Pure Flat slick lures are tried, true, and guide approved. Slick lures catch big speckled trout, redfish, flounder, and more. You can cast them a mile, and they produce a highly erratic bait fish imitation with a twitching retrieve. The tournament winning slick has helped many anglers set personal best records. Whether you're fishing the OG slick, the smaller profile slick junior, or the versatile lil slick, one is sure to find that unforgettable thump we're all after. Visit your local tackle retailer or pureflats.com for your favorite color and rigging combination. Go sling some slicks today. You can't catch them on the sofa. All right, welcome back. So it is the very end of January, and fortunately, thanks to your participation at some of the VMRC meetings in the past, we are fortunate to have a sea bass season here in February, starting 2/1. So just quick overview, what's coming up? What are you expecting this year for sea bass, and when do those trips start running for playing hooky?
Well, February, we're going to start because we have the whole month for that. And we're going to be running 8-hour trips for sea bass where you get 15 fish per person at 13 inches each fish. And it's about hour, 2-hour ride out, hour and a half, 2-hour ride out to the grounds, put a bunch of hooks on there and some bait, drop you down, get you all set up, give you a rod demonstration if you need it. And we try to bounce it around and get you on some good fish, man, and have a great time while we're doing it.
That's awesome. And that's also some great eating fish. And if anybody's curious, go back and search, Captain Bill playing hooky on the Spotify or Apple playlist, wherever you listen to us. There's some killer recipes for sea bass that are in there.
Coconut.
Yeah, coconut crusted sea bass. I've had the pleasure personally of enjoying some of your tahi mako, so I can personally attest that any Captain Bill recipe is straight fire. Yeah, so the whole month of February, sea bass season is going to be open. Do you guys have a couple of open dates available? If folks want to get up with you and book a trip, how do they do that?
So look, we've got a few dates booked by some guests, but we like to keep open dates for. I'm not going to knock the other charters for walk-ons, but we don't just put out 5 or 6 days in a row. Or hey, here's a walk-on, make people take a day off of work or to get excited about a trip they can't take. I mean, we usually and it's tough. Look, I'm being honest, it's tough to book trips to begin with.
Yeah,
it hasn't been great for years with all the coming out of the COVID. So hopefully things pick up where everybody has no problem booking. So let's say that at least first. But I tell you this, to book the trips, I like to wait 3 to 5 days out and look at a weather forecast. When I see it's holding for a few days, I give about 3 to 5 days notice if I can, as much as I can. And I'm like, all right, let's go this day. And I set a text out. Now we got a thing where if we send a text out, you don't get a group text with 800 people signed up to it.
Right.
You get one text to you. It says playing hooky charters, sea bass, 6 to 2, $300 includes tip. And it'll tell you the exact date and it'll tell you, here's a link. You touch that link, you go ahead and put $100 deposit and it'll give you directions. It'll tell you where to go, tell you where to park, tell you what to bring. And you just show up there 10 minutes early. We load you up with 6 guests you've never met or a couple 2 pairs and friends 4s and 3s. It's cool how it works.
Yeah.
And they get on the boat and before long, they're all talking, I give them a little safety speech and then off we go, man. Now you can book a date. You can just get on the website and find an open date by selecting a rec fishing trip. That's what it is rec fishing trip. And you look down and you find a date that's open, you select it. Now what happens is I'm really flexible where it comes out to be where I don't want your deposit. I want you to go fishing. So we never really want to never keep deposits unless people no call, no show, which rarely and have probably ever, I'm gonna knock on some wood. That doesn't happen.
Right. Me too.
So that being said, you put a deposit down for a Saturday or a Thursday. Weekdays are better. And then you got your group. And your Thursday's about 3 to 5 days out. 3 days out. I'm like, hey, Thursday's not looking good. I got Friday open. That looks good. Or I got Saturday. Or I most times the weekends are picked, or they get booked pretty well.
Yeah.
But either way, I'll tell them, hey, you got this date open. And if they can move, I like to move them and get them moved. And they'll have that date, or they'll get a deposit back instantly, or they can pick another date on themselves. So if they book an early date, the suggestion would be to book an early date. That way you can get your group to pick another date and stay inside the month. Because typically we do 7 trips a month. I went back and averaged 5 years worth. I mean, you got to imagine there was 2 years where we didn't get to fish for them, or 1 year, 1 or 2 years we didn't. So I went back before that and averaged those in as well. But you're looking at 7 trips a month. You know what I mean? You got a whole month of February. That's like every 4 days you can get a trip in, just about. That's exactly what it is. Anyway,
Hey, that's awesome, man. I love the fact that there's that possibility because sometimes it's tough to get a big group of people together and coordinate schedules and all this, that, and the other. But if you're a diehard and want to get out there and have some fun and catch some fish, it's a perfect opportunity to be able to just go, oh, I can go. I got the text. Boom, I'm gone.
that's it. And when you're done with, if your people come into the area and they're like, I'm going to be in area for a month, they sign up for the text. And when they leave, they just push stop. You know, we probably had 1,500 people up and down on the thing. We still carry 800 people subscribed, 807 or something. And you send out that text. Sometimes you get the trip booked without even making a post. You know, by the time we make a post sometimes, or if it's last minute, we'll do both. But shoot, I mean, we've had bluefin trips booked in 30 minutes. We've had this sea bass right here trip for Sunday booked in an hour and 45 minutes. You know, they book pretty fast, but you don't even got to make a post. And, you know, if we have to move it or change the time, we will. But hopefully our day sticks out where we can still get a trip in.
Good deal. Well, you guys are out on the water all the time. Obviously, that takes, some serious, wear and tear and hours on your motor. So just real quick, talk to us about how often are you doing motor maintenance? Who's your go-to for motor maintenance? Who's your local marine shop that you trust for that stuff? Just give us a quick overview of maintenance aboard Plain Hooky.
Gotcha. Well, when you put that many hours that fast, when you've almost got 2,200 hours in a year, you're looking at, you're supposed to change it every 100 hours. That's almost 22 oil changes, but that wouldn't be 22 oil changes. That'd be 44 because you have two motors.
Right. Right.
So that's what we've done. I do it myself. I take pride in the fact that I've taught myself and do a lot of the work myself and come up myself doing it and you learn it all. And you talk to some guys like Troy Marine and get some advice when you need it from time to time. And honestly, if we ever have anything major, since we got the motors from them and we're still under warranty, we always go to Troy Marine to let them take care of our big stuff or the stuff that is covered by warranty. And, they're great and we like them. And just pretty much oils, filters, we do it every, 100 hours, 120 when you get a little extra on it. We like to burn it coming in. 600 horses. You get some slick water. We run that thing up to 40 if we can, get it cleaned out from trolling all day.
Oh, yeah.
Take a lot of pride and consideration on those motors so we can do what we love to do.
Yeah, blow that carbon out a little bit. Yeah, Troy Marine's a great option. They're out in Carrollton. They've got, used inventory, maintenance, new motors, parts, service, the whole nine. And, it's cool just to hear you talk about how religious you are about your maintenance because, every time we take a trip on any charter boat, we're placing a lot of trust in the captain and their care for the vessel. And that's a big deal in terms of safety. And so I know you guys are completely compliant with all of the Coast Guard stuff. You're religious about your maintenance. And so in addition to having fun, probably catching some fish, it's also great to know that we're going to be doing it safely. So Captain Bill, it's always a pleasure having you on. Go Eagles. I hope in a couple of weeks when we talk, we get hear a good report about how they did at the big dance. And yeah.
That's right. Hey, quick little shout out. I still got that 25-footer. We were thinking about keeping it, the Seahawk, and actually Oyster Cove Boat Works in Virginia Beach is still listed, and we lowered the price down. I think it's at 55 right now.
Okay.
So if anybody's looking for a sweet boat that's been well maintained as well,
ready to go.
Be ready to rock.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Captain Bill. Appreciate having you on the show. And folks, that's going to wrap up a cool segment talking about sea bass and some boat maintenance. Y'all stick around for some words from our sponsors, and we'll be back with you soon. Sam Rust Seafood, your locally trusted source for premium wholesale seafood. Servicing customers from Hampton Roads down through the Outer Banks, Richmond, and surrounding areas, including Fredericksburg, Charlottesville, and Lynchburg for over 80 years. Committed to the highest standards in the industry, Sam Rust distributes the best of the ocean directly to your restaurant, hotel, or grocery store on time and at a great price. Visit samrust.com to discover how quality, tradition, and sustainability come together. So don't cuss, call Sam Rust. It's time we talked about catching some serious savings. Imagine harnessing the power of the sun to cut your energy bills and having a roof that's built to last. Convert Solar and Roofing specializes in top-notch solar installations and durable roofing solutions that stand up to the toughest elements. Their solar panels are designed to maximize efficiency, and their roofs are built with premium materials to ensure long-lasting protection. Whether you're out on the water or at home, their expert team ensures you're covered. As fellow anglers in the Lower Chesapeake Bay, the team at Convert Solar and Roofing cares about both sustainable living and sustainable fishing. So reel in those savings today and visit www.convert-solar.com or call 757-44-SOLAR. Make your energy and roof as reliable as your favorite fishing lure. Call Convert Solar and Roofing today. Hooked on fishing? Then you're part of the local community that Long Bay Point Bait and Tackle cares about serving and giving back to, providing you with the right selection for each season's target species. They're your one-stop shop to gear up with the best bait, tackle, and insider tips to catch your next trophy fish. You can fuel up right out front on the water and then chat with the crew inside for hot tips on where they're biting. So swing by today. Long Bay Point Bait and Tackle, where your fishing adventures start and finish with your trophy catch on their scales. Hi guys, welcome to What Did You Learn? Man, I just love talking to Captain Bill. He's such a fun captain to talk to. He's got such a great outlook on life, and he's always caught up in some kind of an adventure. Just since he and I got off recording, I went back and looked at his reel, frozen over, and the thing is almost close to 1 million views. So it was at 886,000 when we were talking, and here it is already at almost 945,000 views. So that's almost 100,000 views just in 25 minutes. But at any rate, just cool to know that guys like him are out there charging it, even when it is below freezing. But it was cool to talk to him and learn a little bit about, some of that strategy that he's used with, making sure that your harpoons are sharpened, looking for bait, following some of those tent break lines, and then, of course, getting fired up about sea bass season that's coming. But more importantly, talking about maintenance, and hopefully we'll have this in a conversation real soon, maybe talking with Troy from Troy Marine. It's the end of January. It's tax season. You guys are going to be busy doing some spring cleaning before you know it. You're going to blink and it's going to be spring fishing season. And you're going to be wanting to go out there and charge it and go, oh, that's right. I've got to do my 100-hour maintenance, or I need to get my bottom cleaned, or I need to fix that trim tab that was a little bit, wonky, or maybe, go re-terminate some lines to some of the switch panels that, aren't working well, or whatever the case. So now's the time to do that and be proactive about it. So hopefully we'll be able to talk to somebody that can, just share a little bit about, hey, here's the things that are easy to forget about that you need to make sure that you do maintenance wise, or if you don't have a established relationship with a service provider, we're going to find one that's a good one for you and get you set up with that. So definitely a lot to learn when it comes to maintenance. If you're new to it, for those that are seasoned pros, I'm just talking nonsense here, but at any rate. Guys, it's still pretty cold, but hopefully some warmer temps and some calmer seas will be before us. Hopefully we can get back on some of these speckled trout when these water temperatures get a little bit more reasonable. But until then, y'all be safe out there. Hopefully you can find something to get tight on, and we look forward to talking to you next week. So that's going to wrap it up this week. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember, to get your free AFTCO Camo Sunglasses Cleaning Cloth, just text the acronym LCBFR to 779-345-2918 to get your promo code and be added to our email list so we can send you the new show each week. You guys keep whacking them and be safe out there.